Thank you, everyone, and welcome to this panel on blockchain, the chain of applications. I'm Ehsan, co-founder of Functionland, where we are creating this decentralized alternative to the cloud. And here we have three distinguished guests that I would like to invite on the stage: Tanya, Pramod, and Gary. I don't see Gary. Okay, thank you for joining us. While we are waiting for Gary, maybe Tanya, we can start with an introduction of yourself. Yes.
Is this one working now? Yes. Hi, everybody. My name is Tanya Lindsay. I'm a co-founder of Surge Distributed Protocols. We are a Web3 development company. We have a product called CryptoMibs. It's a casual gaming platform that is an arcade style. And our goal is to take over Web2 mobile gaming with Web3. So very pleased to be here.
Hi, everyone. I'm Pramod and Pramod Gopalakrishna, and I lead the blockchain practice here for EY Canada, and I'm based in Toronto. And I'm also a global product manager for one of our products. And I'm very excited to be here sharing the stage. One of our goals at EY has always been to help drive enterprise adoption of blockchains. And so I've been working with governments, with multilateral institutions around the world, and also working with teams around the world in EY in building some of the advanced cryptographic protocols, such as zero-knowledge proof for blockchains, scalability solutions with Polygon, for example, and also just building different products and solutions for addressing a lot of the industry use cases out there. So I'm excited to be here and chat with you all.
Again, good morning again. Suresh Subbu, board advisor for NFT Pedal, certified coders, and NetSet. I'm here to support Gary.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Gary Bhatti. I'm CEO NetSet Digital. We are a software consulting company that help organizations to build their Web 3.0 products, solutions. And we also have our own products, especially in NFT Pedal, that is a B2B in the marketplace for organizations to build their NFT spaces, completely white label for real estate company, for gamers. And we also have a CM solution for the enterprises to hire the talent, especially related to blockchain online through blockchain smart contracts. So that's pretty much what we are doing right now.
Thank you. So basically, a lot of people associate blockchain with transactions, and transactions happen when we buy and sell stuff like cryptocurrencies, NFTs. So Gary, since you have this experience in marketplaces, and we've seen a lot of these brick and mortar, stores, they came online when the internet went public, and now we can buy everything online, and we are seeing the same route through blockchain. So what kind of assets can we purchase online? What's available now that we can purchase online?
So currently, most of the transactions those that are happening are into the fintech space, where if you look at the rise of these companies like OpenSea and other crypto exchanges, they are mostly keeping those cryptos, writing each other, buying and selling. Other than that, I think the most usable use cases are for the buying through crypto is our real estate properties, such as a fractional ownership. So one of our customers who is in Singapore, he built a platform where he is selling a fractional ownership to the people for a rental property. So other than that, I think another use case is one of the Canopy development company. They are selling the plants as an NFT. That's the kind of solution that we have designed. So they are selling a plant as an NFT, and then they are basically giving, it's a proof of stake. So they are giving yield back to the customer. So these kind of monetization and transactions, those are right now little bit common that we are into the development space we face every day.
Thank you. And Suresh, maybe you can like elaborate on, now it seems we can basically buy and sell everything on blockchain. So what is the difference? What is the advantage of, using blockchain for transactions other than like current methods?
So when we use blockchain, the trust part of the element is taken care. We really know whom we are buying from, and that person really owns that asset. So any asset which is of physical nature can be NFTized from an NFT standpoint. Now we have like virtual shops in metaverse where you can get yourself established and then start pitching the sale, where the Amazons and eBays are going to go away because everyone wants to touch and feel virtually. I don't know what it means, but that's how my kid says, right? It's like he can feel that synergy as well as the product when he looks at it. So that's all about it. Probably.
Thank you.
I think I can come at it more from an enterprise side, right? So I think the biggest thing is ownership, right? Proving ownership. I think that's where it really stands out, is in its ability to, once you've tokenized a real asset, it could be real estate or it could be equipment, it could be anything, but it's really the value is in how do you prove ownership of that as it moves through the value chain. And so from an enterprise side, the simple way to think about it is really you are, buying goods and services, right? It could be, assets, hard assets or services that moves in one direction. And then you have value or monetary form of value that moves in the other direction. And that is governed by some kind of a legal contract or a legal, agreement. And so basically that's when you just think about that and then you multiply that in the ecosystem between all the complex web of organizations that are doing it, then you start to realize the scale of which a blockchain provides value, because you can have these contracts codified. Of course, I mean, it's not 100%, but you can codify a lot of these business logic and the business process into smart contract code. You can tokenize a lot of this value that's moving back and forth. And so when you start to think about the network effects that this has, it's huge. And so from a technology perspective, I think the value is more or less straightforward, but more often we run into other challenges today that is more to do with, be it privacy, be it the legalities. And we had a panel that spoke about a lot of that, governance issues and so on. But at least to your question, I think it's that's really the value of blockchain that I see when it comes to value chains. But Tanya.
And so I think like one of the common advantages that you all three like actually touched on is the proof of ownership, right? So like decreasing the frauds. We are seeing in Canada real estate, a lot of frauds are happening, so that probably can help with that. But we talked about the good things. Tanya, what do you think are the challenges to buy and sell online with blockchain actually?
Buying and selling on the blockchain? Well, there are many challenges. Yesterday we talked a lot about onboarding and the friction with onboarding people into the blockchain. It's very difficult. It's like, now, if you want to go to eBay and you have to decide, well, do I go with, AWS or do I go to Azure, right? Nobody asked that question, right? But if you're in the blockchain ecosystem, you have to know which blockchain you're going to use, which wallet you need to get, which crypto you need to use. It's just way too much thinking for anybody. It's way too much thinking for us, and we do this every day. So that's number one, the problem. Number two, I think the technology itself is developing still. So even smart contracts themselves, what I'm seeing, like I sit through a lot of technical and development groups, and I sit through a couple of hacker chats and stuff. And every day they can figure out how to manipulate something new in a smart contract, oh, did you know that you could do this? And now with this new, module, we can now actually fake this. So I think, it makes it difficult because the bad actors are ahead of that, right? So that's how some of these scams are happening, you know, like even just the reentrancy type of errors, right? Where, you know, where the timing of when as a transaction is going on can cause somebody to double dip into it and cause it to fail. There are things like that that people are still playing with and discovering. So I think it makes it difficult because we are in the bleeding edge of this technology, and we're going to have to go through some of these bumps still until we can get our, you know, seal it up and make sure that it's solid. So to me, those are some of the big challenges with
Actually,
blockchain.
mentioned bleeding edge. So like, I remember like the 20s when every company with a website, you know, like their stock was going crazy, and we saw a lot of frauds, a lot of like bankruptcies. And I think we've seen it recently with crypto. Do you think the dust has settled, or like what is the next?
Like as far as bankruptcies and stuff, or
Bankruptcies,
well, I
fraud.
think we've seen it already. Like I think I actually welcomed the crypto winter, because I think there was way too much hype. There were way too many fake companies out there. Everybody playing on FOMO. The rich people, you know, rich VCs giving money to their friends, playing the FOMO, and then the only people that lost money were little people like us who jumped onto that bandwagon, right? So with the crypto winter now, only the real builders are left. And I think that that's a good thing. Yeah, I heard, and somebody said yesterday too, it's not just a crypto winter. The whole economy is you know, in shambles right now everywhere, in the markets, wars. So it's not just crypto, it's all around. And we will come out stronger. And I think it's going to be good overall for the ecosystem.
Thank you. So, you know, in crypto, we are seeing a lot of projects being very successful in attracting a wide range of audience, you know, like Polygon with their partnerships and stuff. And a lot of projects are trying to go mainstream. So maybe, Pramod, you can give us some insights on what a financial blockchain project can do to go mainstream, to attract more users.
Sure. Yeah, I think there are a few things happening, right? So definitely, of course, yeah, like you said, Polygon, but just generally the ecosystem, there's a lot of layer one blockchains that have evolved a lot in the last, you know, of course, Ethereum's been there for a while, but we've seen a lot of other layer ones evolve as well. Ethereum ecosystem, of course, has grown exponentially with a lot of layer two technologies, and Polygon, of course, has been doing a great deal of work. Just full disclosure, we have an alliance with Polygon, so we're you know, intimately sort of aware of all of the technologies and the portfolio they're building around it. But having said that, just generally, right, it's what's happening is really there used to be this challenge for adoption initially when it came to scaling of these blockchains. Transaction throughputs weren't really there yet, but layer twos, you know, like Polygon, Arbitrum, they've changed the landscape completely. Now you can really and the explosion of all of the different NFTs, you know, NFT applications or the gaming applications, metaverse, all of this is exploded mainly because now you can actually make transactions at a much cheaper rate than before, and they can achieve that kind of throughput today, right? So which is why you are seeing a lot of the DeFi protocols today, and in like, you know, all of the scammers and the fraud and so on, we've had bankruptcies and things like that. We've seen that happen more with sort of the CeFi world in a way, like still a little more of the centralized actors within this ecosystem. But DeFi protocols have stayed strong, mostly have stayed strong and resilient. And so I would say that, yeah, there's a lot of activity happening on DeFi on the retail side, but also institutional adoption is picking up. I think the big sort of elephant in the room, obviously, to a lot of these projects or getting adopted is, of course, the regulations, right? It's, of course, sometimes can be a bad word, but really just we need to have some way of protecting consumers, some way of making sure that whatever we do, whether it's on the DeFi, the NFT marketplaces, or elsewhere, we have a way or mechanisms, frameworks in place to protect end consumers, to protect the creators of the contents and things like that. So I think that's going to help increase some of the adoption. And so these players are really doing a lot of work in that space. In building out all of the essential infrastructure, the protocols, the dApps in place, but we need to see all of these different pieces around come together so we can really see kind of that end-to-end adoption.
Thank you. You actually touched on two great points, strong protocols and regulations. So just going into like protocols, what do you think a strong protocol should have like to succeed?
It totally depends on the business model and the need. Like it can be a proof of stake, or it can be like DAO operated. So it's all depends on in which vertical we are working towards. But one thing is given, which is like decentralized, and there is no the trust part is taken care. The security part is evolving, right? Because any new technology comes in, there are opportunities for remediating the vulnerabilities and threats. Then that's how it works. So we are in the initial stage of it, but the volatility is controlled. The time to market or time to complete the transaction is drastically reduced as we adapt the right blockchain network and the right protocols.
Thank you. And Gary, like on regulations, we are seeing regulations in crypto industry is fast changing, and it's very dynamic. So, like the question is, in blockchain industry, how do these major players approach the compliance problems or regulations?
So there are many different types of verticals though in the blockchain right now. If I take an example from real estate, the ProPay is there. From a media streaming company, I think recently Spotify have acquired a media chain. So every vertical have their different challenges, especially if you talk about real estate, because that's what we have worked so much. The challenge with the real estate is that every local government has their own rules and regulations defined, and there is a lot of documentation, different types of documentation and zoning. So that is one major thing challenging that is in adoption. The second thing is that the media companies, those are basically using artist songs and other content. That is also another, not a regulated compliance available as of now in a blockchain, where you can see that if the song is written by Suresh and I am just singing it, I'm putting it online, there is no track to, how to protect it. So that those initial challenges, Tanya shared, there's some initial challenges that are still exist, and I think it's in evolving stage. That's I think the take from here.
Thank you. Actually, one question I want to direct to Tanya, because I know you are integrating Web3 and Web2 pretty successfully, is, like we are seeing a lot of Web3 projects are creating partnerships with traditional companies, like Polygon with Starbucks, and we are seeing this. So what are these blockchain projects are looking in to creating these partnerships? What is the reason, and what do they get out of it?
I think really at the end of the day, while I think decentralization at a philosophical level is fantastic and where we want to go, at a practical level, it doesn't work, right? You're always going to, most people, I mean, the reason why Facebook is so successful is because for the most part, people don't care about their privacy, right? And most people don't want to be the only holders of their private keys, right? So I think that a hybrid model is really the way we're going to end up at some point. There'll be some applications that will be fully decentralized, but for the most part, it's going to be a blend. And again, trying to find that way to onboard people. I think one of the big errors that the blockchain community has done is that, and it's very typical, I think, but we put the technology, first, right? So we talk about the blockchain, the technology, and the wallet, and the proof of stake, proof of whatever. And for most people, that's just mumbo jumbo, right? And they can't follow it. They tune out. So most of the people that are in the Web3 space, for the most part, we have struggled as a gaming company, because even though there is Web3 gaming, most of the people and most Web3 gamers are actually investors just trying to flip a token, right? They're not really gamers. The real gamers are the ones out there. And even if you look at the mobile market, right, it's $100 billion market. There's 3 billion players. They're all on their phones, and Google and Apple don't allow you to even say the word NFT or crypto, right? So, so I think it makes sense then to have these larger companies that are taking their Web 2 products and their Web 2 games and whatever it is that they're doing, and then trying to go the other way. So trying to say, okay, so I can, you have the option to mint something, but you can still play the Web 2 way. And that's, that's how it's going. I mean, the big player like Disney, for example, it's taking a big stake in Web3, right? Polygon is part of their accelerator now. And they're I mean, I think they see it, how they're going to manage content, right? Like they're a content company. Most of the content now in music, art, whatever it is, it's going to be somehow linked to an NFT. They want to be front and center. And where it's not going to happen on Ethereum, it's going to happen on Polygon. We've been working with Polygon for a long time, and this is like just my personal opinion. I don't know. I don't have any insider information, but by watching what they're doing, it makes sense to me, right? That they're going to be a very big player. So to me, that's the exciting thing about Web 2 and Web 3.
Thank you. We are seeing these big names in Web 2, like Disney, not a Web 2, but like traditional companies like Disney. And in Web 3, to me, it's when I look up online, there are just a few names coming up, like it's a few projects that grew so big. Do you think this dominance of some projects is a threat to Web 2, to Web 3, to the decentralization, or do you see it as an opportunity?
Sorry, yeah, I think a lot of the points Tanya made hold true, right? I think it boils down to, and I'm putting on my product manager hat here, right? Really, what is the value to the person who's using it at the end of the day, right? Of course, we want to achieve decentralization because truly the purpose of this is to be censorship resistant and to make sure that you have control over your personal data or privacy, right? So that kind of there is that philosophy behind it. But like Tanya said, right, that movement, that shift really needs to happen when there is a value prop that is inclusive of that, but also just making sure that there is, hey, I mean, I can do something tomorrow with Web3 that I cannot do today, right? So there has to be a very strong value proposition to that. And so there needs to be that transition in a way that they don't feel burdened by, having to own private keys, remember these 12, 24 word passphrases and, things like that, right? It is, of course, it's exciting for us because we have been kind of the first adopters and so on and so forth. But when we talk about mass adoption, when we talk about onboarding the next billion users and so on, we need to really think about how do we make it easy. That user experience part is something Web3 really needs to focus more on. And of course, there are lots of tools now, like I use wallets that are kind of hybrid wallets now, which have social recovery and things like that. So there are things that are happening, but like when I work with public sector a lot, so it's really day and night, right? I mean, forget about MetaMask or having wallets. It's really just using legacy technologies that we need to really help make sure that they are moving along with this. So yeah, there is a bit of a push and pull that keeps happening. The Web3 technologies are moving really fast on one end, but on the other side, we got to bring along all of these organization clients along with us. There's a lot of gaps they need to close on Web2 itself, right? So we need to help that before they can actually take the next step. I don't know if I answered your question, but at least that's kind of a bit of my perspective.
No, that was great. I think you also answered what smaller projects can do to actually catch up with these larger projects, the value proposition and what they should do. So, one thing actually that comes next is applications, decentralized applications. So can you just explain what a decentralized application means? Like, what is it?
DApp means it's just an enabler, right? You may have a front end, you don't need to recreate your legaciness. but the DApp pretty much acts like an API or a gateway so that it bridges the connection between your actual blockchain and your front end. There may be like, straightforward apps, but the ones I am telling is everyone wants to keep their legacy. They don't want to change. They want to create a legacy on a new technology. So there are like more innovative ways, and there are a lot of templates available where you can pretty much stand up a business in a day. So, but again, everything depends on the business case.
Thank you. Gary, actually, so if a business wants to create a decentralized application, like enter this blockchain world, where can they start? How can they choose the platform? Like, what should they consider?
So whenever any company wants to go on blockchain, and they just need to understand the kind of business model they have. So different verticals can have different requirements, especially if you look at the proof of work that Ethereum does. Maybe some of the companies or some of the organization is required to do that. But if we consider in a different way, some of the companies does proof of stake. So it really depends on what kind of company and what kind of organization and what are their business models are, and what their strategies aligned according to that. So that's, I think, the take for those organizations. We help company in consulting those companies, understanding their needs, and we'll explain them what is the right way of doing. So mostly these days, Polygon is definitely a right choice because of the gas fees and the kind of transaction volume. Again, Ethereum is still there. There's a lot of things those can be done only on the proof of work. So I think to answer your question, I would say that it really depends the kind of organization and the kind of vertical it is.
Thank you. I think we only have 1 minute, so I just open it up to the stage if there are any questions from the audience here.
Thank you, guys. So a lot of you were talking about building on Polygon right now, but given the framework coming up for Ethereum in the next year or so, would you consider doing any work directly with a layer 1 like Ethereum if gas fees and scaling are all going to be addressed?
Okay, I think that's a very nice question, and I think I would love to answer that. So definitely Ethereum is doing a lot of more things in competition to the other multi-chains those are coming up. If the gas problem will be solved, I think there are many companies those will be willing to work with Ethereum as well, because currently most of the companies, they don't consider because of the high volume and the price. So I think, yes, if Ethereum will be coming in the next version, there will be chances that they will take over. I still believe in that.
My answer is no. I mean, the vision for Ethereum is that it's not going to be the chain where all the transactions are going to happen anyway, right? That's part of the vision. And now and especially with the introduction of ZK rollups with Polygon and some of these other chains, and with Ethereum, because ZK rollups aren't native, right, to Ethereum, but they will be, right, coming up. And I really believe that that's where the industry is going to go. Like rollups are going to become the standard. So you just have to figure out which chain you want to go on, because there's a few, but you know, Polygon seems to be one of the leaders and the more established brands. So yeah, that would be my 2 cents.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of application already built on Ethereum, and I think they will still love to have the next version of how it goes. So really, it's I think it's the next couple of weeks when the new version will come, it will be decided that what is coming better way of doing it, right?
Yeah, just one quick point. Yeah, absolutely. I think Ethereum, we almost see it as an ecosystem in a way. So Ethereum becomes a settlement layer, and then you have layer 2 rollups that are really a transaction layer, and then you have Celestia and things like that become the data availability layer. So I think it's modular enough in a way that you can still be in the Ethereum ecosystem, even if you're not directly using that as a layer one transactions. So it's pretty rich right now, the way layer twos are evolving. ZK EVMs are now right, like the standard. So I think we're going to see a lot more development there. More and more companies are adopting these layer two, especially Polygon, right? So yeah, so I think we'll see, but I don't think it's going to be easy to just move to Ethereum now as a transaction layer, but settlement layer, yes, because all the layer twos are going to borrow Ethereum security, and that is, I think, how it's going.
I kind of agree with Pramod, right? If at all the protocol is getting improvised, and if the transaction fee is getting like lower, still the most benefited ones would be the layer two coins, right? So it does not make business sense to use Ethereum as a layer to build your apps. So there may be like a new coin, probably, who knows? It can be a Pramod coin where there is no gas fee. So
Thank you. Actually, as much as I would like to continue this hot debate, we ran out of time. Can we have one last question? I think so.
Thank you. So yeah, I totally agree with the settlement layer on Ethereum, but one question I have, you all talked about how big Polygon is getting with all the partnerships with the traditional companies and everything. But what are your takes on Base, the Coinbase layer 2 program that they're building? Because with all the partnerships that Polygon have and all the other chains, the number of active wallet addresses on the chains is 2 to 3 million, but Coinbase itself has 110 million verified users. So even with 10% of them moving to Base, it's going to be like multiple times of all the chains together active users. So what do you think is going to happen to other chains like Polygon?
Yeah, no, I haven't spent much time with Base yet, but I think it's a great question, right? So obviously, we're not going to have, and it's a good thing that we are not going to have one dominant chain or a layer 2 protocol that is going to have everything. So it just offers, I think, more options for developers and projects that want to build new applications. So I only think it's a good thing for the community as a whole. Yeah, we need to see how Base is going to evolve, and definitely has a lot of good things that people are saying. But yeah, I think it's just a good thing. End of the day, I don't know how it will compete with Polygon vis-a-vis all of its other applications and so on. I don't just.
Yeah, I think this is right. So if you look at the traditional Web 2.0, there is a .NET, there is a Java, there is a couple of things. There are different frameworks they are still working on. So I think there is no winner here. So Coinbase has a large base. Solana is coming up. Polygon is improving. Ethereum is improving. So I think that's it has to go all of them. It depends on the type of development that you want to do and kind of product that you want to do, and which fulfills your needs and the business needs. That's where I think you decide. And you ask consulting companies like us to choose which Polygon or which chain can help you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, great panelists and the audience for bringing on hot topics. And I see some books here.
So this book is available on Kindle, but we can give this book as a free gift. Just give us your email or business card, so we will send all of you. So for now, for the speakers, we have 3 books that I would like to give to them all. So thank you very much. So my booth is like there. So if you want this book, just give me an email address. I'll send a PDF version.
So this is just a quick guide or a handbook on how to get on board with NFTs, you don't need to use my platform. As I said, this is an awareness session as like, what is NFT? How do you make a business case and how not to lose money? Because the moment, blockchain, cryptos, I have seen very few who made money and most of them lost it, right? But my passion is towards the technology and the underlying application and the goodness it can bring to the people. So we just tried our best. Please criticize.
Thank you, everyone.